Thank you, Ryan. Just a standard operating procedure. Can you just give me thumbs up if you can see my slide? Okay, thank you. I can see thumbs up. Thank you, friends. Once again, let me greet you. Good afternoon. My name is Joel C. and with me is Miss MK Guanyo. We are from the Campus Ministry and Service Office, or CMSO. So later you will hear CMSO every once in a while. So that's Campus Ministry and Service Office. And we are from Xavier School San Juan. We pray that that we will all be blessed by our sharing this afternoon. And to start, I'd like to turn you over to Miss MK Guanyo.
Yeah. Hello, everyone. When we were planning at the start of last school year, there were many questions that concerned us as formators, especially in the campus ministry and service office, given that we are the ones creating and implementing modules for students to grow more in compassion, character, and community through liturgies, recollections, and service interactions. We all know that connection is key to student formation as it builds trust, determines the quality of our relationships, and enables us in each step of the Ignatian pedagogy paradigm in shaping our students' experiences to allow it to be transformational. Thus, you, as educators and formations, may be able to relate to questions such as, if we will not see the students outside of the classroom due to online distance learning, how will our formation programs remain relevant to them in this setup? If our 2-day service interactions and recollections will be compressed to 2 to 3 hour sessions to avoid screen fatigue, how do we make sure students have meaningful experiences with a limited time? If they cannot do face-to-face or even one-to-one interactions with their service partners, how can the students have authentic engagements with them? Most importantly, how can we provide them with the opportunities to encounter God at this present time of the pandemic, considering their context? How can we allow our students to connect to God, to themselves, to others, and to the community? These questions are not new to us, but became more challenging due to the extraordinary circumstances we were all in. To answer these questions, we had to reinvent not just our programs, but also ourselves. We also held on to one of the principles of Ignatian spirituality, non multa sed multum, or not many but much. With this, we share to you some of the graces we have received the past year through strategies in online student formation. One of the key gifts we received this year are having thematic morning prayers and prayer circles. Initially, we didn't think it would be possible to conduct recollections or even have service interactions due to the online setup. Thus, we designed 5-minute prayers that students will pray at the start of each day with specific themes for each week, as if they are on a weekly recollection. The prayers followed Ignatian themes and the spiritual exercises of Saint Ignatius. Yes, you heard that right. Spiritual exercises of Saint Ignatius made age appropriate for high school students through music and reflection videos, simple prayer activities, examens, and Lectio Divina, among others. Also, we were able to have 6 prayer circles last year where each one was done at the end of a specific week. A prayer circle is basically sacred listening and spiritual conversation. A prayer circle goes like this. First, there is silent reflection on a given prayer material. Then the first round of sharing is for each one to share about their reflection and where everyone else just silently listens. Those who are listening are asked to be aware of how they are moved, when they feel tension, or what struck them as the others shared. After this, there is a couple of minutes of silence. The second round of sharing is for conversation where each one shares about what has been said during the first round or how they felt about them. After this, there's a couple of minutes of silence. Then, lastly, Gathering the fruit of the exercise, each person, if moved, may pray aloud, thanking God or asking for a specific praise. One can also pray for the group or a specific person in the group as the Spirit moves. There are three unique themes we want to share about how we conduct the prayer circles. First, the group they are with is consistent. In Savior School, each class is divided into three mentoring groups. Thus, every prayer circle is done with the respective mentoring group. Secondly, each mentoring group has a mentor who is a school faculty or staff who facilitates the prayer circle with the group and journeys with the students all throughout the year. Thirdly, the prayer circle follows the same theme as the morning prayers. Thus, the sharing deepens the reflection of the students, and the mentor is able to give a short synthesis at the end before they close in prayer. Journeying with the same group the whole year with their respective mentors encourages openness while having a safe space in the spirit of confidentiality. As they had silence and reflection, sharing and conversation, and again, being silent and praying allowed them to connect to God, to themselves, and to their small community.
The next strategy we'd like to share with you is about our service interactions and recollections. You might actually be wondering what service interactions are. These are equivalent to your social action programs or social involvement programs in your schools. We call it service interactions because we want to highlight the purpose of these activities, which is service. One may think that the service that we are referring to is the actual work that we do for the benefit of our interaction partners. Well, that's just one side of the coin. What we really would like to focus on is our students' gift of presence to our interaction partners, or the ministry or apostolate of presence, because the goals of our service interactions are in fact promoting awareness, building bridges and connections, solidarity and empathy. And in the words of Pope Francis's papal intention for this month, social friendships with different communities, sectors, and groups beyond our school. For each grade level, the service interaction and recollection are integrated following the Ignatian pedagogical paradigm, where the service interaction serves as the experience in consideration of the student's context, while the recollection is an opportunity for reflection, action, and evaluation. Again, the service interaction is not a standalone program, but a part of one formation program that culminates with asynchronous recollection. To illustrate this further, allow me to present to you this table of our pre-pandemic programs placed side by side with our online distance formation programs.
Sir Joel, I think we need to move the slide so they will see their table.
Okay. Let me just, okay. Is the slide not showing or is it not moving?
It's now moving, Sir Joel. It's
Okay.
already on the table.
Okay, so now it's on the table. Okay, so please go ahead and check the formation programs pre-pandemic and during the online formation programs. Okay. How about now? Is the slide moving?
Yes.
Okay, very good. Thank you. Okay, so the formation programs are patterned after the Ignatian retreat in daily life, where retreatants meet with their director once a week and is given prayer points for the entire week before they meet again. Okay, so last year, the 2 to 3 hour synchronous service interaction was held on a Saturday. It included a keynote address from a plenary speaker. So in this case, the picture I'm showing you, we actually had Howie Severino, and he's a COVID survivor. And then the actual service interaction that happens in breakout rooms, either per class or per prayer circle group. Ideally, there are at least two service interaction partners per group. A set of guide questions and sharing points were given to the service interaction partners as well. After their sharing, the students were given time to ask questions and interact with them. As a way of immediately processing the experience, even before the deepening during the recollection, the students were also given time to be in silent prayer or to journal their reflections before they break into mentoring groups for prayer circle. During these days, during the days between the synchronous service interaction and the synchronous recollection, the students were given morning prayers and asynchronous prayer activities via the Learning Management System or the LMS. The morning prayers are said together in class, while the students are encouraged to set their own prayer time and sacred space where they can do the asynchronous prayer activities. These activities were not graded. However, one way that we found effective to encourage them to complete the prayer activities is by using badges offered by the LMS or the Learning Management System. Then on the Friday following the week, Friday afternoon of the following week, after the synchronous service interaction, we gathered again for the synchronous closing recollection activity, which lasted for around 2 to 3 hours, where students received input from the CMSO formator, synthesizing all that had happened or all that had transpired that week, and during the interaction, from the interaction to the prayers of the week. They were also given time to be in silent prayer or to journal their reflections before they break again into their mentoring groups for prayer circle. The synchronous recollection activity ended with a Zoom batch mass. While we were able to have service interactions and recollections online, there remains a problem that the online processing and deepening time given to CMSO may still be insufficient considering screen time and academic schedules of the students. And so, what we did was we approached some more. We had some more strategies that we employed last year, and we're strengthening this school year. And those are synergy, integration, collaboration with academic subjects, so that we can ensure that follow through is made even outside official CMSO time. The CMSO formators join academic summits, grade level team ups, project-based learning, or PBL planning. And at some point, we even join presentation of assessments. It gives both the CMSO and the subject teachers an opportunity to look for areas where academic subjects and the CMSO can work together to solidify the insights, or in spiritual circles, we call it the graces, that we receive from the service interaction and recollection, and to plan and implement actions in response to the invitation posed by the service interaction experience. We especially work closely with our CLE department since we share the same subject action goals and evidences of learning. Here are some of the integration we made last year and we are looking forward to do. So last year, we had the grade 8 service interaction. They interacted with COVID-19 survivors and they had the recollection. And we did a partnership with Creativity and Expressions, or their art subject or their art class. Their outputs were laminated inspirational posters given to the Lung Center of the Philippines and were posted in their COVID-19 ward. They also provided meals for frontline health workers. For grade 12, they had a service interaction with non-medical essential workers. And after that, they had the recollection. And we had a partnership with CLE and their project called Life Project, their assessment called Life Project. Their outputs include advocacies, fundraisers, and donation drives for different sectors of the society, but mostly from the labor sector. For grade 10 service interaction with volunteers, and of course their recollection, we had a partnership. We will have a partnership with the computer education department, or their subject computer education. The students will be required to come up with a blog or a website containing articles, reflections, and other student outputs that can be uploaded in this online repository. We thank you for taking time to listen to our simple sharing about the strategies we used for online formation last year in the online distance learning. Please know that these strategies are far from being perfect, and we continue to reinvent these programs. We invite you to also consider them and adjust based on your school and your students' context. If while presenting to you or upon implementation of the modified strategies based on what we presented, you notice that some things needs to be tweaked, please do let us know. In Savior School, we are now being challenged to rethink our programs once again and to consider hybrid face-to-face and online formation programs. We feel that this is our direction now, especially that the effectiveness of the vaccines amongst teens and students are being studied abroad. We will be happy to hear from you if you've already started doing hybrid formation programs so we can also learn from you. We also hope to have another venue like this next school year so that we can share with you again our experiences. Let us help one another in building effective formation programs for our students that despite the seeming disconnectedness, we may all remain connected to God, to ourselves, and to one another. Once again, we thank you very much for listening. Luciat Lux, let your light shine. Ad Maiorem Dei Gloriam.
Thank you very much to Sir Joel and Ma'am MK. The floor is now open for questions. You can either unmute yourself or send it over to the chat and I can read it to them for you.
Or maybe you can also share some of the things you also did in terms of your formation programs, and maybe we can have a dialogue about them.
That's correct, MK. After all, this is called the learning exchange. So
Yes.
we are also happy to learn from our participants this afternoon.
Okay. As we still have time, one of the things that really helped us in our implementation of these programs, because a lot of them were new things, okay, but one of the things that really helped us were the support of our administration also. They were very open to our ideas, and as we have said earlier, we never really thought that we can have online recollections and service interactions, just as what we've discussed earlier. But because of the openness of everyone was just willing to learn, willing to experiment, and just because we wanted to really give to the students the best that we can offer them, despite the situation that we are in, then we were able to pull it through. Also because of God's grace. So I'm sure many of us are looking forward also to new things. Yes, there's something in the chat.
Perhaps we can also show MK our programs, yung comparison ng pre-pandemic and
Ah,
pandemic
yes.
programs. And we can give a walkthrough, okay, or like a quick summary.
Yeah, since we
Um,
still have time.
Yeah, so pre-pandemic for grade 7, we have the service interaction were with moms who just gave birth in Pabella. The recollection is about Mary as an example of generosity. So there's a connection. Also Mary as the model of moms. And for grade 8 MK during the pre-pandemic programs.
Yes. For grade 8, during the pre-pandemic, we had interactions with people with cerebral palsy. So as they were made to reflect about the cannonball experience of Saint Ignatius, we hope that they can have a sense of solidarity with these people who are undergoing somehow a cannonball moment in their lives, or cannonball experience. And but because of all these things that they cannot interact with them, we thought of, for grade 7 and grade 8, to look at the possibility of interacting with people who are currently in the situation or in the height of the pandemic. So for grade 7, we had the medical frontliners who, despite, like Mama Mary, despite the dangers of the challenge of the mission, they still gave of themselves and became generous as followers of God. Okay, so to live out their service, their calling as medical frontliners. So for this year, for last year, for the online formation programs for grade 8, we had the COVID-19 survivors. So here, they also underwent their own cannonball experiences. So actually, it was very moving, because the students, a lot of them, really asked questions. So we broke them in, as Mr. C discussed earlier. We broke them into small groups, mentoring groups, and in their small breakout sessions, they really had a chance to hear these stories firsthand, not just through TV or through YouTube, but firsthand. And they were able to ask questions. How was it like to be a COVID survivor? What were the challenges? How did it feel being isolated and all that? So it became more real to them, and they were also able to process these experiences through as what Mr. C shared earlier, through the asynchronous prayer activities throughout the week and the recollection.
Regarding that, MK, we actually have a question in the chat box regarding the morning prayers and asynchronous prayer activity. So we have a question from Sir Marky. Can you talk a bit more about the weekly prayer materials? Is it similar to the on-site pre-COVID equivalent, or was there an imperative to start something totally new, tailored for the online setting LMS? Actually, sir, we developed new ones. The format of our formation programs following retreat and daily life is not something that we did pre-pandemic. Pre-pandemic, our service interaction and recollections are actually parang they happen magkasunod. It normally it's 2 days. The first day is the service interaction, then they will have overnight recollection and prayer. So because of the pandemic, when we are trying to reinvent our programs, we had to find a way how to come up with recollection, but won't actually expose the students to screen fatigue. Because imagine if you're online in Zoom for a long time doing the recollection, that would be really tiring for the students and for the teachers as well. So what we did instead was to come up with prayer materials that we shared to the students via the LMS. That's for the daily prayers. And then we only had 2 to 3 hours recollection to culminate the entire recollection week. If you're wondering whether they still attend class during I think we forgot to mention this earlier, but they still attend classes during the recollection week. It's only that we encourage them to come up with a prayer time and set up a sacred space. So that's where they can do their prayer materials, their asynchronous prayers. But yes, it's new. We just started the weekly prayer materials during the online formation program. It's not something that we did pre-pandemic.
And sir, Mr. C, if I can just share my screen,
Sige.
just to show them how it looks like. Actually, okay. Actually, the ADL really helped us in this formation. You know, the way that we designed it, even the how it looks and all that. So, for example, here is the Ignite service interaction and recollection. So for grade 8. So like for example, for this one, let me just and for example, so good day, grade 8 gentlemen. So since this is the start, so today we continue to reflect on the experiences you had in the service interaction. So it was very much like how the ADL was, presented to us at the start of the school year. So it really helped us. The ADL really helped us design this. So as you can see, they ask for the grades, and then they have a journal entry that they have to do. Okay, so there's reflection. So this will actually helps them. Yeah. So then that is the start of the activity. Okay. So wait. So like the next one for prayer reflection day 2. So because in grade 8 they are like in a pilgrimage where they journey with Saint Ignatius. Okay, so they pray the sushipe. Okay, so there's a clip that they had to watch. Okay, so yeah, so this is just an example of how one of the examples of the asynchronous prayer activities that they had to do. Okay, yeah. So these are the asynchronous. The morning prayers are on a separate folder. Yeah, but
Yes,
this
please
is
take
how it
note,
like.
friends, that the morning prayers are different from the asynchronous activities. So we prepared several materials for one day for the grade level that's having the recollection. And then it will be synthesized during the culminating recollection synchronous activity on the Friday following the service interaction day. Ayun.
I hope
Thank you.
we were able to answer your question, Marky.
Ayan. Thank you, Sir Marky. I think you can also do that po.
Yes, just please feel free to email us. Mr. C will also put in the chat box his email, and I will also put my email. So are there any more questions?
Ayun. So we have remaining 3 minutes for people to ask questions. But siguro let's continue just showing the programs that we had pre-pandemic and online formation program. So grade 9, we had pre-pandemic, we had service interaction with people deprived of liberty. We brought the students to the New Bilibid prison, medium security compound. And then the following day, they had the recollection with about freedom and second chances. Grade 10, they had service interaction with the excluded, orphans, elderly, sick people, and then the recollection is about St. Peter Faber. For grade 11, they interact with the urban poor, and then they had days with the Lord. And then for grade 12, we had the supermarket immersion, and then the recollection is about dignity of work. For the online formation program, so for grade 9, it's the same, people deprived of liberty, former prisoners. But this time, we talked about freedom in connection to the experience of the lockdown. And then for grade 10, it's the Jesuit Volunteers of the Philippines. And then the recollection is about discernment and vocation. Grade 11, it's an interaction with the students of ADZU, Muslims and non-Catholics. And then we had the recollection on interfaith dialogue. And then for grade 12, we had interaction with non-medical essential workers, our school maintenance people and security guards. And then the recollection is about the dignity of work. So all of these online formation were actually done via Zoom. And then, yeah, for this year, we are being asked to come up with a hybrid recollection, service interaction and recollection. So we'll update you on that, whatever the output may be. So hopefully we have another forum like this.
And Trigger one also one of the things that we did after the conducting all these. Of course, we had an evaluation tool that we gave the students, but we also conducted a focus group discussion so that we will be able to hear how was it, was the schedule good? I mean, what was the schedule helpful? Did it help you in terms of your reflection and all that? What were the activities that you most appreciated, and what were the feelings? What are you most grateful for, and all that? So so one of the things that came up was that we shouldn't conduct Saturday activities. They were hoping that all our activities will be on a weekday. Thus, it led to a lot. Well, it's not just because of our main department, but I'm sure it was a collective effort that now in Xavier School we have what we call a Formation Friday. So everything that is about formation happens on a Friday. So all our service interactions and recollections will happen on a Friday, not on a...
Which I think Miss Guanyo came from the Ateneo.
Yes, yes.
Yes.
So
So thank you to
without
the Ateneo for that
knowledge.
idea of having Formation Fridays.
Okay.
So if there will be no more questions, you can, if you have additional questions, you can send it over to their emails as they provided in the chat box below. So once again, thank you very much to Sir Joel and Ma'am Catherine. And thank you also to our participants for attending today's session.